I'm Michelle and I'm from Tennessee. I've been an occupational therapy assistant and a licensed practical nurse. So I had enough of healthcare. Didn't feel like I was helping the people the way I wanted to help people. So needed a little different avenue, and real estate has always been something I was interested in and found a way to make the jump. Healthcare is, in my opinion, very well, it's money driven. Everything's money driven. I get it. It's a business. But when a healthcare company says, let's say your 85-year-old grandfather had a hip replacement and insurance says he gets 14 days rehab. Well, what happens if grandpa gets an infection in that hip? Slows down his progress, doesn't get to go as far as he needs to in order to go back home. Doesn't matter. Insurance says 14 days. The circumstances aren't, you know, it's built into, it's all numbers. It's not about the person. This is the same kind of thing with, you know, medications, what's on your formulary, what's not, whether it works or not, doesn't matter. That just, to me, it gets old. It gets frustrating. You know, I didn't go into healthcare to try to explain to someone that because you have XYZ insurance, you're only going to be covered for so many days. That was my frustration. Well, I went from nursing to, my husband is in construction. He's very good with his hands. He does heavy equipment, that kind of work. We just finished building our own house. So the construction aspect of it, so I went from nursing, you know, either, you know, dressed up kind of, or scrubs, to him pushing me onto a skid loader and saying, this is what we got to do, you got to learn how to do this. And, you know, I mean, talk about scary. For me, it was really scary. And then, but just to see what's happened to us in the last 5 years doing that kind of work, I mean, one of our last jobs was rough. I mean, we're talking about physical labor, lifting up railroad ties and plates, and you're out in the conditions, you know, from sunup to sundown. It was rough. So, you know, I went from nursing going, I'm not helping anybody, to completely opposite, you know, 360 physical labor. You know, I'm thinking, are you trying to kill me here? You know, to I've seen what's happened to his back. I've seen what's happened, you know, as far as our activity level, you know, has went down. The older you get, the less active you are, especially if you got to do that kind of work all day. You don't come home and go, okay, we're going to do this, 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 and no, you come home and you go, okay, where's the clicker? You know, you don't want to do anything. And so to get out of that physical labor part for both of us, and whatever we do, we love to do together, and this is probably the thing that brought us more to real estate, was because it's something that we can do as a team, because we're a great team. That's why our teamwork makes the dream work, because what I keep telling them, so that's what we keep, that's what's on our, you know, some of the stuff we have. And so real estate is never going away. It's not going to be an industry that, you know, goes away. Somebody always has to have a place to live, whether it's a house or whether it's a piece of land they build something on or they put a trailer on or what have you. They're not making any more of it. So it's got to, there's always going to be turnaround. There's always going to be something going on in real estate. And the potential to make money is in real estate. So that was kind of it's not going to quit, and you can make money, and you can be your own boss. We can work together. There was we did the whole pros and cons kind of, you know, breakdown on the paper, and it kind of felt like, because we had a business before. You know, we've had our own business, but he was a truck driver before we met, and so he had a trucking business, and that went well. But again, it's long hours and physical labor. I think when you get older, that becomes a little more of a hindrance. When you're younger, and that's what you do because you can. Oh yeah, coming into real estate is, well, it's scary anyway, because it's new. I mean, human nature tells us anything new is scary. It's supposed to be, right? But I think that the stuff that is new, again, is the unknown. So it's going to be scary. It's been incredible because, like I said, we were green, and coming into Clever, there's so much support. If you get stuck in one area, then you know you call up this person and you say, okay, I need to know you know, how do I do this? I mean, even as far as setting up our business itself, you know, there's a contact with a lawyer, and so we talked to him and said, okay, this is what our plan is. Which direction do you think we should go? Should it be an LLC? Should it be, you know, where do I go with that? And how do we set up this? And so there's been a lot of even just setting up the business aspect when you're dealing with real estate, and if you want to go to rentals, if you want to, you know, because there's so many avenues to go down. I mean, to me, it's never going to get old or boring because there's so much to new, you know, there's so much to learn. So that there's been a lot of help. I mean, I had never called anybody, you know, like a cold call, I guess, on the phone. Scared to death, didn't want to do it at all. And it's, I mean, here at Clever Labs especially, you're like, you got to do it. Here you go, come on, let's do it. So, but once you make that first call, when you talk to a human person, you know, you don't get a machine or whatnot, you talk to somebody and you get over the as Cody says, you know, the marbles in your mouth kind of thing. You trip over your tongue, you know, you feel like you're turning red. I mean, I went in the corner. Literally, you seen me yesterday. I was in the corner behind the screen. I didn't want to look at anybody. I didn't want anybody to see me. The whole thing. I didn't want anybody to look. And it was not because I was embarrassed. It's just because I'd never done it before. I wasn't afraid someone's going to get me or anything. It's just to go through something the first time for me is. But once you go through it, and you know, you're coached through it how to do it. Okay, if this happens, you might want to say this, and then I kind of, you know. We have you know, the format that we try and follow as far as when you're talking to somebody. When I would try to do it on the format, you know, I feel like I become robotic. Like let me just flow with this and see what happens. And the student mentor we have, you know, she said, just go with it. Just go with it, what you're feeling, and see what happens. And so I kind of said, okay, I pushed the papers aside and said, I'm just gonna, you know, I don't want to say wing it because I do have a little bit of, you know, knowledge background means I'm not winging it, but I don't want to be following a script. So that was very helpful to me to know that I didn't have to do it, you know, following a script. So once you get that first call, though, I was hooked. I mean, it was right, it was right before, you know, it was a lead that was, you know, potentially 2 properties. You know, 1 could turn into 2. And I was like, okay, and then I was excited. So it gets you motivated to make the call, even if you don't want to do it the first time. Before we came, like I said, I hadn't made a call. The fear factor, I know you have to do it, and our mentor says, you know, you got to do it. Make 20 calls this week, and yeah, we'll make 20 calls this week, and did we do it? No. We didn't do it. You know, I mean, there was a couple reasons why we didn't do it. You know, there were circumstances, but Paul made a few calls. I made a few calls. I didn't get any answers, so therefore I didn't pursue it any farther. I was like, okay, I said I'd make some calls, made some calls. But I didn't push myself at all. Coming here definitely helped the business because, at least for me, I am super motivated now. You know, it's helped kick me where you know where to go, okay, let's do this. So it's been great for us, I think. The impact that it's made for us is that it's made us have to do our business. You know, this is what we wanted. We knew it was what we wanted. You come to Clever Labs and they give you the foundation, which is, you know, what we need. We need the foundation, someone to push you to do it. We got that extra education and the push to get you to do it. You got all the support around you. You have a question, there's so many people that you can ask. If, you know, some people, if you ask somebody a question, you don't get the answer you want, you go ask somebody else. Well, here at Clever Labs, everybody's pretty much got the same answer, the same attitude. It's the you can do it attitude. I think it's going to help as far as our business because we have, I mean, all the people here and the whole Clever family to network with, whether it's, you know, wholesaling or rentals or ramping up your business even more. I think it's a bigger avenue for us to explore for sure. Well, I think it's going to, obviously financial freedom is a big thing. I mean, everybody talks about financial freedom. Paul's mom, we just moved her down with us. She lives in a camper on our property because she didn't want to live in our house. She doesn't want her own house to be too far away. So she's on our property in a camper. I mean, part of our goal, our responsibility in our eyes is to take care of her. You know, that's the first priority, is to make sure that she doesn't have to worry about anything. We don't have to, she doesn't, as far as, you know, she's on a very limited, fixed, I mean, she's going to be 85 years old in March. You know, I mean, so she watches every single penny because, you know, It's a low amount. To know what some of our seniors are expected to live on is depressing. And you know, she's 85. My parents are both retired, and they're also on a fixed income. I don't want them to have to worry. You know, I mean, they got us to where we are as adults, and I think it's our responsibility to pay that forward. You know, we need to be taking care of them. I have grown kids and a grandchild. I'd like to make sure that they're, you know, that whatever they want to do, I could be there financially to support them should they need it. That's a huge relief to know that you have that. You know, that's where the rubber hits the road. When you feel like you're able to do what you want to do, give back. I mean, that's part of who we are as humans, I think. You know, you have to be able to pay it forward, give back, whatever little word is that you want to say for it. You know, that's something, when that's, especially, you know, taking care of your parents, I think, at least to both Paul and myself, it's important. That's what we do for, you know. Well, I think for me, it makes me feel good. Everybody wants to feel good, whether you're willing to admit it or not. I mean, there's some of the things you do it because it makes you feel good. Whether it makes you money or not, to help our parents, that's what we need to do. That's, I mean, not necessarily what you were taught to do, but that's how we feel, you know, so that makes you feel great that you're able to do that. I mean, not only do we want to help our parents, but, you know, as far as like, we always try and work together on everything, but there's also that piece of us. I mean, I'm a hunter and I'm a fisherman, so we like to hunt and fish, and I want to know if I want to hunt and fish that we want to leave, you know, like when we left the house to come to Clever Labs. It's like, okay, this neighbor needs to know what mom's doing, and we'll have this one call, and you know what I'm saying? I want to know that she's comfortable, that she's taken care of financially, that we're able to help her, that we're set up financially, that if we want to take a long weekend and go somewhere other than our backyard fishing, that we have the flexibility to do that. You know, so that's going to be important for our relationship as well, to have, you know, time other than work, you know, to do with each other. I'd tell them to do their research, number one. I did. I mean, I went all the gurus that are wherever. I watched a couple of things, and to be honest, we went to one of those things. What's the word I call them now? Like the cheerleading, the 2-day cheerleading business. I mean, and then, well, we went to the one-night thing, which was the upsell to the other thing, and then we went to the 2-day thing. We didn't make the second day. The first day was completely enough. It was upsell. You never got any information. Cody is completely different. Totally out of the box, completely different as far as his methods to get across to people. I mean, especially like being here, you know, we were really nervous, not only just the calls and all that stuff, but because we tried someone else and, you know, went to their upsell cheerleading session, which really gets on your nerves, you know. We were worried, okay, so how's this first day going to go? So yesterday for us was monumental. So today I'm hoping is going to be just as monumental because, I mean, we made it through yesterday and we came back today. The other people, we did not. So if anybody's on the fence, I would do your research, because as a human, you want to know that you made the right decision based on what the information you have. So you got to have your information. I would say that if I had to choose it all over again, I wish I wouldn't have wasted all that time doing all that research, because I've done it. Cody's the way to go. Clever Labs is great. Clever Investor is great. The programs, the information that he has, and what he teaches you, I don't think there's anybody else out there that does it like he does. I would say go for it. That's all I can say.